to this IoT Alliance webinar. And I'd like to mention that this is my first webinar. I'm the newly appointed Alliance coordinator of the IoT Alliance, and I must say this is probably one of the most interesting and thrilling and exciting jobs I ever had. So I'm very much looking forward to this webinar. I'm very much looking forward to greeting our three distinguished speakers, Professor Schmalzel from Germany, Mr. Cataldi from Switzerland, and Mr. Sesse from France, which will give three very interesting insights in their fields of business, in their fields of expertise. But before we start, I hand over to my dear colleague Markus Wiemann, who will introduce the UTech Chamber. Will introduce the UTech Chamber to all of you. Thank you very much, Markus. The floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you, Joyce. Good morning, dear speakers. Good morning, dear UTech board. Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen, guests. Great to have you on board on a Friday afternoon, or not afternoon, morning, so to say. For most of us, it's morning. So I think the choice of the topic, IoT and health, is certainly a big topic which should catch a lot of attention. So I see good participation, and I'm sure that thanks to our panelists, we will get a number of good insights. And Joyce will also share later on how we can get more involved step by step on this topic and yeah, within this alliance. Glad to see you all. Yeah, my name is Markus Wiemann. I'm the director for strategic partnerships as well as institutional relations. In my earlier role within UTech, I have set up the Africa Alliance as well as the Energy Alliance and have taken over this job in spring, early summer. So I would like to give you a bit of a background on what UTech is about. Sharing now my screen with you. For those who do not see my first slide, which should show a blue page with UTech Chamber on it, please have a look on the down right, where there is one icon which looks like a screen with 3 legs. If you press that link, you normally should see that specific slide. At the same time, also good to say that, yeah, as Joyce just said, just before I start, only the speakers would be allowed to speak. Those who are not speakers, mute yourself if it's not done by the technical assistance from our side. That would be nice, but you are, of course, always happy to share any information inside the chat, also raising questions, concerns, whatever, just to be interactive altogether. But let's come back to UTech Chamber. So UTech Chamber has been established in 2015 by our chairman, Florian von Tucher. And the main idea was and is to think together and bring stakeholders together in the context of the Sustainable Development Goals. And here we have 3 main objectives, which are covered under our mission statement or on our slogan, Technology Obliges, which is to bring stakeholders together to improve their competitiveness through innovative, new, clean solutions, let's say. Also to see how we can create growth or create new markets together to establish new growth perspectives, as well as on how to combine it all with the aspect of sustainability, which in the end is, well, if you look into the SDGs, which should be the backbone of all what we are looking into and what we should follow for the next future. So not only until 2030, but also after. In this context, we have created since at least, or especially throughout the last 2 years, a new system, and we established now out of earlier chapters and commissions our concept of alliances, meaning that we are covering regions, as you see, which is the China APEC region, which is the Africa, Latin America, as well as the German-speaking DACH region, plus Benelux being established. And we are looking into certain technology areas which are around Internet of Things as of today, mobility, energy, smart cities, environment, digital transformation, sustainable manufacturing, food farming and fisheries just has been established 4 weeks ago. And in addition, it's the impact alliances, so to bring stakeholders together around the topic of finance, SDGs, climate action, women tech. The way we work is that we have daily webinars. So each of the alliances organizes one webinar per month, which totals up to 200 per year. So every one of you should be very welcome to have a look at our UTech website, also at tech.forum website, where you can log in as a new guest, so to say, to register for the events, but also to apply as a speaker, to provide aspects and recommendations from your side. So really to make it interactive again. And the main idea is that after this webinar, where we have a topic of the month, to dig deeper a week later through our networking meeting. So to get to know the speakers a bit more closely, but also to get to know each other more deeply, because here, of course, it's more targeted on the platform with the speakers, but then in the week after, really to have a more collaborative, interactive possibility for exchange. And then 2 weeks after, or 1 week after, again, to look into ways on how we can even work more concretely together once we have found the right partners. So you see here a few figures on how many people we have meanwhile mobilized throughout the last years, which is a significant number if you look into the SDG space. And so there's a lot of competence to find out through our network. So those who are looking for partners, please speak to Joyce, please speak to me, to our other colleagues. We will be happy to help you. So this means that on the one hand, as just said, we have the access to the speakers through our follow-up mails, not mails, but meetings. And we also have the creation of business opportunities either by ourselves or by the participation into certain funding opportunities, which we are going to present to you then in the subsequent weeks. As such, this means that as total, we have established an UTech ecosystem for all of you, which on the one hand creates knowledge, which we generate again out of webinars as of today, but also through our networking meetings and also our exchange with the different boards of the different alliances. So we have white papers, position papers. We also have a flagship magazine, which is called Visions for Europe. We will be happy to share some links here in the chat shortly. Of course, also the updates with the newsletters. We also have some insights which we share through our LinkedIn groups. New entrants I spoke about. And then it comes to certain programs where we just like to highlight one at this stage, which is the awards. So on the 24th of November this year, we will have again our new edition of our SDG Awards, where we will have the possibility, or where we have a call for proposal, basically, that everyone can submit his project or his, not an idea, but really a project which is ongoing, to be then selected for the final round, where through public vote, we can then, or it will be then chosen who is the winner. And these winners will get a lot of support, which is value for euro 10,000K, just to get into the market system so that everybody knows what is the best solution. And we would like to give the right support to the best solution here. Inside the Tech Forum, as said earlier, that is basically the place where we meet today. There's a chance that we all have a booth so that we can meet up outside the webinars, but also in separate rooms. At the same time, there's a chance to create separate events, as I just said, with the awards, but also for each of the alliances, we will establish hybrid events by start of next year. And of course, also to access then the database through the networking we have. There is very specific new feature which allows everyone to matchmake directly by himself, so to allow for very efficient multilateral exchange. Yeah, with this, I think I would not like to stop the appetite, because I think the topic of today is the IoT and health. So just closing on my side again, if it's about partnerships, institutional relations, please contact me. If it's about membership, I'm very happy to introduce you also my colleague Federico Gonzalez, sitting in Tenerife, myself in Düsseldorf, and Joyce in Bavaria. So back to you, Barry. I wanted to say back to you, Joyce. Wish you very, very nice demo. I will stay for a moment and share some more information in the chat. Thank you so much for being with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Markus, for introducing the work of the UTech Chamber to our distinguished guests and speakers. It is now my pleasure to introduce our first panelist to you. I found his work when researching the top 10 most important health startup companies in the German-speaking market. Well, the rest, I shall say, quote, is history. I just managed to win Professor Kurt Schmalzl as a really distinguished and highly interesting speaker. And enough said. Kurt, the floor is yours. Let me just give you the presentator's rights, and then we're very much looking forward to your presentation. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you should see my presentation, do you?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So, hello, good morning. I am Kurt, and I'm the founder and CEO of CCC, Center for Connected Healthcare. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today morning, and I thank you for the invitation, Joyce. Let us discuss digital healthcare and IoT. CCC is a startup in the German capital region, Berlin-Brandenburg, consisting of a team of physicians, social scientists, IT specialists, and business people. Everyone dedicated to different branches, important ones on eHealth, hub, project development, and a so-called think tank. I would like to put my talk into some perspective, and the best perspective I can give to you is connected health. Our story, just 1 year ago, I wrote a contribution to this book together with my friend, Michael Hübner. Our title was From the Internet of Things to an Internet of Services in Healthcare. It at the same time announces my first take-home message to you. Please consider what an IoT could mean in healthcare, e.g. compared to a gigafactory to make cars. But why? Why is IoT even an issue? Don't you just need doctors, pills, imaging tools? But if we look at the healthcare system, say your back, your knee, or whatever, why is IoT even an issue? At this point, I must call on our social scientists. Do you remember the clapping hands during the first corona waves? And what's your lesson from this? The famous Bertelsmann study says Germany has too many hospitals. And if we decide based on profitability and quality, we should do without half of all these hospitals. But during the corona crisis, many said we also need all these small hospitals in the countryside. Where shall we go? In my view, we should work on the digital hospital. And in Berlin-Brandenburg, we have the political topic to create a leading one digital hospital in Cottbus. This could mean one big hospital in one region, digitally interconnected with all the small institutions and people working in healthcare. We are facing mainly one problem there, which has to be solved: the access to and the organization of health. And this holds true mainly for shrinking regions. And you all know shrinking regions. Possible solutions? Let us look at the patient journey. Which way does a patient take who seeks medical help? And now I come to the second and third take-home message for you. And they are called networked care and data fusion. This is a graphic we had used for one of our recent successful grant applications, a project with the focus on 5G in hospitals. Look at a hospital as a big treasure of resources. An ultrasound machine, an MRI, a microscope in the biochemical lab, an intensive care bed, an operating theater, and just a normal hospital bed or whatever. All of these theoretically infinite resources, from syringes to staff, become digitally addressable parts of the machine hospital. But this is much more than an IoT defined by technical resources. What we need, and we need it from you, is data fusion. ECG data, biochemistry data, imaging data have to be integrated in a medically, not just technically, meaningful way. We need technology and medicine to work together. You may see one solution on your wrist, your smartwatch. Technology is becoming small and digital. You already know that we must integrate very different data streams, from implants, from wearables, from labs on a chip, from mobile imaging machines, and so on. The philosophy behind this is my final take-home message. Medicine comes to the patient as far as its technical aspect works, but the patient goes to his doctor. So finally, from my take-home messages, I ask you to draw your own conclusion. If medicine comes to the patient as far as its technical dimension is important, but the patient goes to his doctor whenever he needs a human partner. If you agree, then the hospital of the future no longer has walls. The technical IoT, which has become an internet of medical services, connects patients and medical services. So, my last slide, if you want, join us. And we shall be happy to cooperate with you. Thank you very much, and I hope the 10 minutes are fit.
Thank you very much, Kurt, for your insights and for your sports ambition to make the 10 minutes meet. I have seen some raised hands, and I ask for your sincere patience. We have enough room for discussion after the 3 presentations. So thank you for Ibtisam. Thank you, Ibtisam and Lydia, for your contribution. I'd like to ask you to contribute to the discussion after the presentations of Mr. Cataldi and Mr. Sesay. Mr. Cataldi, the floor is yours. You have presentators' rights, and let me emphasize how happy I am to have you here. You are about to present your insights from your view of building automation. You promised us to present a very engineering focused view of building automation. So I'm very much looking forward. Mr. Cataldi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Joyce, and thank you for the invitation to speak. I must confess that at the beginning I was a little bit thoughtful about. I come from a domain which is the automation of buildings and the use of IoT for this automation and the integration of different systems. But now, after seeing the presentation from Kurt, I'm super happy because I was feeling out of this subject, but it is not so. The collaboration and data stream integration is something very important, and we will see also this in my presentation. So let's go forward. I'll try not to be too technical. Obviously, if there are questions, I'll be happy to answer afterward, after the presentation. So let's try and to define what is building IoT in a general way. And building IoT, as the word says, refers to building. So there are many different kinds of buildings, and the buildings I'm taking in consideration today are all buildings that are connected by a specific aspect. The aspect that binds together all these buildings is the fact that these buildings are designed, are built, and are managed by professionals, by people, okay? What does this mean? It means that the common denominator of this building is that the information that is collected and contained in the building itself has something to do with the human that not only has to live into the building, but also has to build and also has to maintain this building. Now, let's try and focus on what the Internet of Things is and how the Internet of Things is relevant for different domains. So the Internet of Things describes the network of physical objects that are those that we call things. And these objects are sensors, actuators, and technologies inside so that they can exchange data, exchange information, and we will see they can also share and exchange knowledge, which is the most important subject, I believe, today. And they work through the internet. So from the home to the city to everything that is connecting us to one another, everything that we use every day and has a digital paradigm. So an important concept in IoT is interoperability. How do we put together the different domain of this knowledge? There are sensors to know the temperature in a room, and there are similar sensors that they measure the temperature of our body, for instance. How do these different things that look very similar can interoperate to one another? This is a big challenge in the technical aspects of IoT, and it has many different aspects. Aspects, for instance, about the safety of this information, how this information is treated, who can read it, what are the outcomes of analyzing this information. There are many aspects. The concept of interoperability is fundamental. And we get, and I believe that one of the important aspects in interoperability is to follow and to take in high consideration the standardization of these different domains and then the standardization of interacting among these different domains. So when we talk about a building that has been designed today with tools that are almost 100% digital, we usually imagine that these tools are only used, or the outcome of these tools is only something that then will lead us to the building itself. Today, it is not anymore so. When we design a building, we are usually creating a model of it. And when we create a model of a building, we can give to this model or add to this model different information, a different level of deepness in this information, so that this building at the end, the design that we do, can also become a model, a twin of the building itself. Once we have this twin, we can use it along the life of the building to collect information and put those information in relationship with the components and with the building itself. The information we collect are not only about technical aspect of the building, but are also about aspects of the people living in the building. Imagine just the concept of occupancy of a room. Occupancy is a concept that relates to the domain of the technical aspects of the building and the domain of the people living in the building. So we get to a point where this digital twin, this digital artifact that represents my building, can be enabled, can be augmented from the knowledge that comes from the designers and the experience that come from the people living in this building. So all this knowledge that we have in the designing, in the using this building, can be embedded into the building, the digital twin of the building. And we imagine that we effectively represent and show and use this knowledge as a graph where the nodes are our objects, like for instance, people, like for instance, the technical parts of the building, and the lines that connects these nodes are the relationships. So in this way, we can explain in a digital form what are the relationships among the objects in a building and transfer this technology and this knowledge. The final goal of all this transition from having the knowledge in the head of the designer and bringing it to the model of the building is that in this way, this knowledge is machine understandable, and we can achieve a big result, which is having the possibility of the digital model to collaborate with the human inside the building. What does this mean? When the digital model is also able to manage the knowledge that we can represent in a digital way, the digital model can also react to our requests. So we can ask the model to tell us what happens if, or what is the outcome of this activity, or what might be the outcome of this activity if I simulate different parameters. In this way, the digital artifact can help us in understanding better the environment where we live. Obviously, this is a little example on how we use this thing. And this is an example of applying a very widely used technology in an hospital, for instance, where you can see here picture where we can see many different objects, but there is something that we cannot see that is extremely important for us, and it is the air. And how do we manage the quality? How do we take care of the quality of the air in this building? There are objects that are connected through the internet, and these objects are managing, for instance, the temperature of the water going through the ventilation system and controlling the temperature of the air. Objects similar to these ones. In the specific objects that are IoT capable, and these are intelligent controllers, intelligent device that can communicate the information and answer our questions. Well, at the end, the result is that the building can collaborate with the users, with the people that are living inside the building. And what you see there, the HVAC system, the ventilation system, is then augmented by all this information that come from the sensor, by the knowledge that is inside this object and is putting this information together in relationship, and by the action that this intelligence object can do. So at the end, the intelligence components are interconnected and they interact with each other. And this is what we call a digital ecosystem. So we are introducing now a lot of different concepts that are all connected to the IoT and to what the life in an automated building is. Last question is, are these systems safe and secure? Obviously, these are important aspects, and there is a lot to talk about this. In the IoT field, all the different actors are working in order to make this system safe and secure. And we have technologies that now can enable us in understanding who is doing what and in preventing the misuse of the systems. Maybe this question will be interesting for the next part of this webinar. And with this last slide, I like to thank you for having listened and all my different concepts, and I give the floor to you back, Joyce.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cataldi. The digital twins is just one of many catchwords, which is worth making another webinar from it. I'm getting so many ideas, but I don't want to lose too many words myself, since we have another really interesting expert in the field coming up, giving his presentation, Mr. Sese. Thank you very much for being here. I hand over the presenter's rights to you, and yeah, let's start then. Mr. Sese, we are about to start. You just got to unmute yourself.
Sorry, there we are. I have
Excellent.
Yes, sorry about that. Oh, thank you very much, Joyce. Thanks to the chamber and everybody here to hear about e-health, very important aspect of our existence today. And I'll share with you information about Smart Connect and how people have a particular system integrator has utilized our system to stream data from assisted living, health, aging facilities. So we are Smart Connect, and we say intelligence at work, but our job really is to provide streaming data from the edge to the dashboard. And various system integrators in different verticals use our system to rapidly deploy cost-effective IoT solutions. We know that about 70% of IoT solutions are not going to production. Smart Connect, we provide a no-code software solution at the edge that securely captures, normalizes, aggregates, and delivers disparate IoT device data to any analytics platform so that they can improve operational efficiencies and then reduce cost. The problems we solve, our software actually solves this problem, is that there's a high project cost and increased risk due to the need for custom software development. There is no unified solution for monitoring and control of disparate vendor sensors, devices, industrial equipment, cameras at the edge. Prof. and Mr. Cataldi have already talked about this in much more different ways than what I'm stating here. And then people are overwhelmed with data in lakes and they're not able to leverage for digital transformation. Smart Connect has a strong digital transformation partnership. We're Gold IoT Solutions partner with Intel. We're a business partner with IBM and all these other OEMs. We provide and deliver through your normal IT distributors, TD SYNNEX, Ingram Micro, Bluestar, Arrow. These are the people who provide you your cell phones, your computers, your servers. Recent notability, Trulin finalist, oil and gas product of the year, engineering product of the year. So, like I said in the opening remark, our software is used by system integrators to provide diverse streaming solutions in the IoT, smart city, digital transformation solutions and services. And this is digitization with telemetry data. Every equipment out there has telemetry data. We can make that captured and being streamed to where it's supposed to be, and we can apply analytics to it. Our assisted living request for proposal ready solution is through our partnership with Intel. We have the software, and then we use Intel hardware to capture any and all of these sensors and make that data available in the cloud for processing, basically. Streaming assisted living, healthy aging facilities data for e-health is made easy, whether it's from the hospital, from the buildings, from the facilities themselves where people live. We make this happen very easily, and add an environmental dimension to the personal health. So somebody has a headache, okay, you can determine that by body temperature, but then if you have the environmental information also, it gives a different perspective, basically. So the assisted facilities, major players, or really the three main people or players in this space are the proprietors, the residents, and their family. So the proprietors, they need to maintain a good brand. They have resource challenges, human, energy efficiency, safety. They have compliance to deal with, funding issues, the residents, of course, and their families, they want peace of mind and good health. And when you stream data from this environment, you can bring these two together so that they can achieve their goal and mission, which is to love and serve our elderly people, whether it's in retirement homes or spaces like that. How this is done? Well, it's an overall facility management solution for multi-tenancy residents, wherein they capture human detection parameters, call them sensors, okay, duress, siren, all this tracking of the people, indoor air quality. You mentioned that, Mr. Catalid, but these are all just part of the getting a holistic picture of the human existence, basically, that actually impacts their body itself internally, and then you can detect all of that, smoke, liquid, weather, energy usage, and then provide early warning capability. So imagine if there's some pathogens in a building and the oxygen is reduced, you get an early alarm of that. You have an idea like, okay, something is not right in this building, basically. The sick building, sick people, and the staff, the doctors, family members. It gives everybody across the board a peace of mind. The data streamed from facilities through a unified integrated solution can be analyzed by AI engine of choice, basically. We have done this with IBM Watson Analytics. Now, the proposal, why we say really want to collaborate and work with other people deploying solutions in this space and other IoT smart city spaces that we guarantee, and then we have done this. We have return on investment numbers to share. Most of our clients have been researchers who want to change equipment, sensors, and their research capabilities, or different people doing research on the same environment. They can have rapid, cost-effective deployments, enhance facilities management, automate critical infrastructure protection. These are all stuff we have done with Department of Health, Department of Defense, and private and public entities, basically. Wherein their legacy equipment, they don't have to buy new sensors. We can tap into legacy equipment and systems and bring those data out for optimization, connect disparate systems, subsystems, I will actually have articles on LinkedIn. I have a newsletter on LinkedIn that address some of these issues we're talking about here, the problems of capturing data at the edge and making it available for AI and machine learning engines. And we help out companies a lot to provide real world data for them to train their analytics and machine learning engines. At the end, you have the fact that data silos prevent integration with cloud-based analytics and enterprise systems is a big issue. Like Mr. Catalidi said, and Prof also indicated, we solve this problem basically. I am Said Tisse, president of IoT, Smart Connect IoT. We are based in La Beige, outside of Toulouse, in the IoT Valley, and we look forward to working with people, collaborating, and being part of solving the global problems. Thank you very much. I hand over back to you, Joyce.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sese, for your concise and interesting presentation. I found all three presenters insightful. I'd like to make use of the time being for a discussion, and with all the catchwords presented, I'd like to ask the first question: if we this morning might have found a solution for the different problems the health sector is facing. I mean, Mr. Sese was addressing the retirement homes, the senior health issues as a whole. Mr. Professor Schmalzl was addressing a problem which I am sure not only German rural regions have, but rural regions from all over the world, meaning that some regions have hospitals, others have not, and provide healthcare services is in a way is key for our global health, as we're facing global health issues, as the corona pandemic, as we are facing global health issues which are like lifestyle inflicted chronic pandemics, I shall say, with the rise of diabetes 2, just to mention one disease. So my question is, do we have our healthcare technical solutions at hand with IoT? What's your opinion on that? I'd like to start with Lydia, who has raised her hands. Lydia, would you like to contribute to the discussion, or would any? Okay, Lydia, please feel free to unmute yourself and speak to the panel. Okay, Lydia, now you can. I'm sure you can speak and open your mic. I hope you can. Otherwise, Asmat, please help Lydia. And while here we are. Good to have you here. We can't hear you. Asmat, can you please help Lydia? Lydia, please write your question in the chat. I'm going to read it to the other participants. Sorry for this inconvenience. Any other one who'd like to bring up questions, either in the chat or on screen? Or any of the participants willing to contribute some extra points to the discussion? You're very happy to speak up. Esteban is having a question. I'm going to read out the question to all of you. Thank you, Esteban, for contributing your question. Says, good morning and thank you for the wonderful contributions. Esteban asks, what do you foresee as the biggest challenge in the evolution of the digital connected healthcare system? And I'd like to ask this question to all three of our distinguished panelists, starting with Mr. Sese.
Yeah, let me unmute, sorry. What we have encountered is that there are a lot of solutions for analytics, machine learning, cloud storage. Major issue are at the edge, capturing the data, integrating the various devices, sensors, and what that does is it makes people want to provide specific individual solutions. For example, if you have one temperature sensor to stream data from that temperature sensor, it's not economic, you know, in terms of communication cost and all that. But if you have, we've calculated that if you have about 8 to 10 different sensors in an environment, then you're getting to more economic situation to stream that data to make real-time decisions in the platform of choice, basically. So the real, like I say, in terms of the digital connected healthcare system, there are various solutions out there. They need to be integrated so you can have a wholesome picture. And integration is expensive. Taking custom routes to integrate is not the way to go. Being standardized is the way to go. And when I say custom route, imagine if you're in an office and your printer, those days when we used to print, we don't print it. Let's say your printer, to print to that printer is a custom solution by one company. To print to the other printer is a custom solution by another company. That office is not going to work. Once some of those things are standardized, somehow you have a better chance and choice to deliver on connected health solutions. My thought, anyway.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sese. Mr. Cataldi, do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely agree with Mrs. Sese about the standardization. We see three phases: collecting data, transforming data in information, and extract from those information, extract knowledge. Okay, now these three steps have interfaces, and these interfaces, they need to be standardized. Otherwise, the cost of integration will be always high, and will be always an integration with a loss of information. So maybe we can catch that stream of temperature, but if we cannot say where that temperature was collected, then it will be very difficult for us to understand the meaning of that information. So data, information, knowledge, and the standardization is super important in this steps. Yeah, I believe these are the major challenges today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cataldi. Mr. Schmalz, Lydia came up with a question addressed to you. Her question is, how will the EU contribute to standardization to make local requirements to the healthcare system more applicable to the common market? I shall read out the complete contribution from Lydia from the chat, as she had problems to unmute herself. As international search consultants, we are working for a range of clients in connected healthcare, e-health, and medtech. All are parts of the IoT chain. These businesses are looking to be integrated, but each and every EU country has its local requirements in healthcare systems. How will, in your opinion, the EU contribute, or I shall add, how must the EU contribute to this challenge, in your opinion, Professor Schmeitzel?
Thank you for this question, and it's a difficult one because it's not only a medical and not only a technical question. In fact, it's a political question. Look, in medicine, you have very different types of data. Look at an ECG, look at a single biochemical value, look at an image, whatever. There is some parts are standardized, but only a few of them. And the challenge is to integrate, to bring about a data fusion. And as you mentioned, the standards differ not only from data stream to data stream, but also from country to country. And therefore, to merge different data streams, in our view, we have to work on edge computing, so to bring analysis to the edge of a device. We are not convinced with working with a large IT department. We are much more convinced with first steps to edge computing and to solutions by the help of cloud technologies. Of course, this makes up another and more difficult questions, data security and so on. But I think we have the chance with edge computing and the help of course, of AI to do this. But nevertheless, we are just at the beginning of data fusion. And most of data fusion still is happening in the head of the physician. That's the truth.
Thank you very much for your contribution. I see so many questions coming in, and I'm so happy about your willingness to discuss these thrilling topics. But thinking about the time, I'd like to thank Ahmad Abu Sweid for the question he handed in. And I'm afraid this is the last question for the webinar. So I cannot emphasize enough that we are about to have another networking meeting on the 26th of August. I shared the invitation link, already shared the invitation link on in the chat, and I have, of course, the obligation to to inform you that all speakers have LinkedIn accounts, and I am sure they're happy to connect with you and to continue this really fruitful discussion. But then now back to Ahmad's question, and I think this question is a very good question from Mr. Cataldi. Ahmad asks, do you think there are new beneficial scenarios when mixing data coming from smart buildings and digitalized healthcare? If so, what can they be?
This is a very interesting question. Thank you. I would like to replace the word mixing with interconnecting. So this is always information becoming knowledge that we can interconnect. What do I mean? In smart building, we have a lot of information about, for instance, not only the temperature, the humidity in a room, but also the CO2 level. So the quality of the air that we are breathing. Now, if we can describe this information in the proper way, so that can be connected to the information about the status of the people living in the building, then we have more knowledge and new scenarios are possible. So I basically do not have the answer, what are the scenarios? I'm sure there are scenarios, because as soon as we connect knowledge, we put together the knowledge, then the new scenarios come, and we can then benefit of having this additional knowledge. So we can see the smart building, the building IoT, and we can see the health, e-health IoT as two domains of something that can be interconnected to produce, to generate more knowledge and to tell us how to take advantage of it. Okay, this is, I hope this answered your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cataldi. I have, it is such a pleasure to have you all here, and I'm sure we have so many questions to be left unanswered, which is a bit of a pity because it's a really interesting topic. But looking at the time, I would like to thank all of you for coming. I'd like to thank all of you for contributing. And I'd like to thank our panelists for their presentations. As you all know, we're very much devoted to sustainability. So I would like to thank the panelists for their contribution in a very sustainable way. For each presentation, we have planted a tree in Rwanda, and we are going to hand over your certificate, proving that we plant a tree in Rwanda in a sustainability project for you via mail. So thank you very much for making this great webinar possible. I hope to continue this fruitful networking and this fruitful discussion on the different channels mentioned. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Hi, Joyce.
Hello.
Did you say we stay behind or?
No, please.
Okay. All right.
Considering you the adventures you went
Yes.
through for us.
All right.
I'm going to send over the presentation, not the presentation. Sorry. You have, if you'd like to, the possibility to use the recording of this presentation for your own purposes.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And I'm going to send you the certificate of the planted tree I mentioned over as well. As said, we're going to have a networking meeting on the 26th of August, which you're really cordially invited to.
Yes, please.
And thank you so much for your contribution, Cece.
Thank you very much. We'll be in touch. Okay, we'll look at the other EU Tech alliances and see how we can contribute and help.
I'd love to. I think there's so many interesting topics for you to cover, either as a speaker, as someone who listens to it, and spread the word. If you have someone you could recommend us, I'd be very happy.
I'm in IoT Valley, so I'm going to bring this up with the other members. We actually have a meeting on the 1st of September and bring it up with them that they should pay attention. We can learn a lot from, and a lot of those startups can also learn a lot from EU Tech and what you guys are doing.
Excellent. Yeah. So
thank you so much.
Any contribution is highly appreciated.
Thank you so much. You have a good rest of the day, okay?
And you.
Okay, bye now.